Hi everyone, welcome to our educational vlog. For today's video, we're going to talk about primitive communism and egalitarian society. So, these are the presenters. The first presenter will be Ms. Madrideñas, followed by Mr. Masbate, and lastly, Ms. Pahulas. What is primitive communism? So it is the collective right to basic resources, the absence of hereditary status or authoritarian rule, and the egalitarian relationships that preceded exploitation and economic stratification in human history. So it is a way of describing the gift economies of hunter-gatherers throughout history, where resources and property hunted or gathered are shared with all members of a group in accordance with individual needs. Origin of social communism. In political and social sciences, communism is the philosophical, social, political, and economic ideology and movement whose ultimate goal is the establishment of the communist society, which is a socio-economic order structured upon the common ownership of the means of production and the absence of social classes, money, and the state. So communism is a political system that comes from the Latin meaning common. Based on the collective ownership of the production of goods, communism rejects individual ownership of industry and promotes the manufacture of goods in order to satisfy the basic needs of the economy and the people. History of primitive communism. Karl Marx and Engels were inspired by Lewis Henry Morgan's description of communism and living the characterized the Iroquois nation of North America. The speculative evolutionary history by Lewis highlighted the liberty and equality among the ancient people that was evident in the family setting of the Iroquois nation. Engels transformed the idea into an evolutionary theory with publication The Origin of the Family in 1884. He argued that transition from traditional modes of production to subsequent production involved a change of production for domestic or family use to production for sale or exchange, and a transformation from communal family relations to an individual family as the main economic unit. Marx and Engels expanded the use of communism to include not only hunters and gatherers but also subsistence agricultural communities. Characteristics of primitive communism. Full democracy. About all members of the society had to make decisions to arrive at the solution regardless of their success. Lack of specialization. All people in the society are supposed to do all jobs together. Jobs include tool making, gathering fruits, preparing shelter, and hunting. Absence of exploitation. The communal societies has neither exploiters or exploited. Shifting cultivation. Primitive economic organizations were of the subsistence type, that is, they fall into the broad category of production-consumption economies. One important reason for this is the absence of technological aids in their attempts to exploit nature, as is illustrated by shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation means that the same plots of land are not cultivated for long and that cultivators move from one plot to another. The reasons for doing so are understandable. The decreasing yield of land as a result of continuous cultivation can be counteracted through proper maturing. But maturing represents a rather advanced scientific level of cultivation. Hunting and gathering. Hunting-gathering societies hunt animals and gather plants as their means of survival. Hunter-gatherers move about a great deal in search of food, but they cover only a small area because their food sources are so limited. Usually men were hunting and women were gathering. No economic surplus. All production was for keeping members of the societies alive on daily basis. Low level of development. This is because there was no surplus. No private ownership. Means of production such as land, tools, and weapons belong to the community. Shared property. There is no concept of ownership beyond individual possessions. The tribe shares everything in order to ensure its survival. The evolution of primitive communism. The rise of social class society has changed the human history. The communal ways of organizing society have since changed. Humans have moved from a society of equality and communal living to one characterized by oppression and exploitation. The agriculture revolutions around the world have transformed most hunter-gatherers to farmers. The need for a political structure to advance the affairs of the communities has brought about significant changes to communal leadership and decision-making.
Marx's theory of primitive communism. Marx's initial drive to create the basic tenets of communism began in the middle of the 19th century as he observed the existing capitalist system being used as a tool by the bourgeoisie to enslave the working class or proletariat. He believed that capitalism was an antiquated system that fed on the working class and increased the gap between the rich and poor. Capitalism, in Marx's eyes, contributed to the degradation of society and needed to be replaced. Primitive communism was a concept put forward by Karl Marx. He proposed that the traditional hunters and gatherers were based on the egalitarian social relations and common ownership. The first stage is usually called primitive communism. The primitive communism stage most likely begins soon after the dawn of humanity itself, at the stage where fire is developed and communal living therefore becomes more convenient. Primitive communist society tends to be very small, consisting of a maximum of a few hundred members, with size being dependent upon the environment. In this stage, humanity does not differ from any other animal group, in that it has not yet found ways to bend nature to its will. The ancient communal and state ownership, which proceeds especially from the union of several tribes into a city by agreement or by conquest. During this stage, the concept of private property begins to develop. With the development of private property, we find here for the first time the same conditions which we shall find again, only on a more extensive scale with modern private property. On the one hand, the concentration of private property, and on the other hand, coupled with this, the transformation of the plebeian small peasantry into a proletariat. His well-known tome, The Communist Manifesto, published in 1848 and written with the Friedrich Engels, sought to outline the basic faults of capitalism and educate readers on the principles of communism. Marx's solution to the perceived problem of a free market society. The manifesto contained 10 steps, known as the 10 planks, were intended as a test to determine if a society had successfully become a communist state. The manuscript led to the banishment of Marx, his wife, and children from both Germany and France, and he lived the remainder of his years in London beginning in 1849. Like Actor said, power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. According to the communist theory, there are two main social classes. First, there is the working class, consisting of the workmen and laborers who are exploited by their capitalist bosses. Then there is also bourgeoisie, the capitalists. They just profit from the work of their employees and they are seen as the enemies of the working class. They should be extinguished or re-educated. In the ideal communist society, there are no classes anymore. Everybody works, not for the money, but to be the useful member of society. In perceiving benefits of communism, first, theoretically, a communist society promotes the equality of all people. Classes do not exist in a communist system, and therefore all citizens are equal. This eliminates the class struggle that Marx believed caused numerous conflicts, including shortage and war. Second, communist ideology seeks to eliminate child labor and encourage education for everyone. Each child is entitled to an education under communist principles. Third, communism supports a lack of competition which originates within its beliefs in equality for everyone. And fourth, while communism does not support private industry, it does not support the role of the worker. Under the communist system, every member of society is given a job. The government owns all production and can therefore employ each member of society. In a capitalist economy, employment ebbs and flows. Lack of employment can lead to poverty, lowered self-esteem, and substance abuse. In a communist system, all citizens are provided work. Did you know that an egalitarian society, all are considered equal, regardless of gender, race, religion, or age? There is not a class system in an egalitarian society, but relatively equal access to income and wealth. An egalitarian society is one in which there are as many positions of prestige in any given age, sex, and grade. There are persons capable of filling them. One of the proponents of egalitarianism is Martin Luther King Jr., who advocated for civil rights in America. The origin of egalitarian society. Egalitarianism, from French égal, means equal, or equalitarianism is a school of thought that prioritizes equality for all people. According to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, egalitarian doctrines maintain that all humans are equal in fundamental worth or social status. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the term has two distinct definitions in modern English, either as a political doctrine that all people should be treated as equals and have the same political, economic, social, and civil rights, or as a social philosophy advocating the removal of economic inequalities among people, economic egalitarianism, or the decentralization of power. Some sources define egalitarianism as the point of view that equality reflects the natural state of humanity.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannalyn Paulas and I'll be the last presenter for today's video. So let's start. Here's the economic feature in egalitarian society. We have pastoralism, generosity, technology, hunting, exchange, wealth, and lastly, the horticulture. Now, let's get to know each of this feature. First, we have the pastoralism. So, pastoralism refers to owning domesticated animals for production, transportation, or slaughter, as well as successfully stealing horses and maintaining a herd of livestock. So, pastoralism is a mode of subsistence that involves raising domestic animals in grassland environments using herd and household mobility. Next feature is generosity. Generosity refers to displaying kindness through throwing feasts, giving gifts, self-depreciation, distributing resource or property among the group, and providing voluntary assistance in economic activities. Next feature is technology. Technology refers to demonstrating a proficiency in specialized manufacturing of tools or functional products, such as arrows, crafted tools, canoes, or etc., as well as displaying superior mechanical skills. Next, we have hunting. Hunting refers to demonstrated competence in hunting by reliably providing protein from wild game for distribution. Next, exchange. Exchange refers to maintaining exchange relationships with kin, friends, or allies, formal gift giving between families during visits, and maintaining debts stored through property loans and success in trading. Another feature is wealth. So wealth refers to culturally specific luxury goods such as a rare or liquidable assets through travel or trade, then owning a high quality dwelling, also owning symbolically or economically valued items or slave ownership. Then the last feature is horticulture. Horticulture refers to success in growing food, producing surpluses of staple crops consistently, yielding good harvest, proficiency in gathering wild plant foods, skill in tree felling, and maintaining productivity in cultivation. So we already know the economic feature in egalitarian society. Now let's proceed to political feature in egalitarian society. We have geographic knowledge, second, kinship marriage, third, oratory skill, then fourth, dispute settlement, and last feature is warfare. Let's start with the first political feature in egalitarian society, which is the geographic knowledge. So geographic knowledge, it refers to knowing the homeland well, being able to predict or identify resources, traveling to foreign land, pioneering new territory, processing knowledge of the outside world, traveling in dangerous, life-threatening conditions successfully, then the ability to influence outsider for group interests and maintaining or establishing intergroup political relations. Next feature is kinship marriage. So kinship marriage refers to maintaining kin alliance by the ability to influence and organize distant kin, supporting extended kin in single household marriage for kin alliance, maintaining marriages in the interest of kin group, having many wives or dependents, and marriage exchange. Next, we have the oratory skill. So it refers to being able to organize a large group of individuals under a common goal, ability to clearly and eloquently communicate to a crowd. Next, we have the dispute settlement. It refers to the ability to resolve conflicts, including miming and comedy, to displace tension, mediating fair discourse between individuals, or having demonstrated successful in group or out-group resolutions. Lastly, we have the warfare. It refers to being a natural leader in battle, displaying courage on the battlefield, having successfully killed enemies, demonstrating a willingness to go to war and returning life. So that's for the political feature in egalitarian society. Let's move to ritual feature of egalitarian society. So we have three ritual feature. We have augury, shamanism, and ceremony. So let's talk about first the augury. So it refers to being able to predict events or catastrophes, and also the ability to interpret dreams and the foreseeing the future and foreseeing success. It is the practice of clairvoyancy by a prophet or oracle, or it is a sign or harbinger of things to happen in the future. Next, we have the shamanism. It refers to successfully healing diseased individuals, possessions of supernatural spirits, application of medical plants or magical surgical techniques that use and applications of magic for healing purposes, or it is the manipulation of spirit world. It is a system of religious practice. Historically, it is often associated with indigenous and tribal societies and involves belief that shamans with the connections to the other world. It have the power to heal the sick, communicate with spirits, and escort souls of the dead to the afterlife. Next, we have the ceremony. It refers to displaying ritual leadership or experience, completion of initiating ceremonies associated with puberty of age set requirements, completion of cultural ceremonies related to their situations or needs, membership in elite or secret societies, or the ability to transfer ritual or ceremonial knowledge. So those are the ritual feature of egalitarian society. Now, let's proceed to personality feature of egalitarian society. We have the first personality, the self-control. It refers to maintaining reservation and control through tense situation, not displaying anger, taking a peaceful approach to many situations, and actively avoiding conflict. Then the second personality is aggressiveness. It refers to the ability to express opinion, ideas vehemently when necessary, being able to express discontent without reservation, being forceful in aggressiveness with others, and gaining respect through aggressiveness displays. Then the last personality is intelligence. So it is being quick-witted and able to make good decisions on the spot, being knowledgeable on a variety of subjects, and displaying contextual knowledge or educational knowledge. So these are the personality feature. Let's move to our last topic, which is the modern egalitarian theory. So modern egalitarianism is a theory that rejects the classic definition of egalitarianism as a possible achievement economically, politically, and socially. Modern egalitarianism theory or New egalitarianism outlines that if everyone had the same opportunity cost, then there would be no comparative advances, and no one would gain from trading with each other. In essence, the immense gains people receive from trading with each other arise because they are unequal in characteristics and talents. So these are differences may be innate or developed so that people can gain from trading with each other. So that's for the modern egalitarian theory. So we're done presenting. Thank you for listening, everyone. So please don't forget to like, share, and comment this video. And don't also forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you again, everyone, for listening.